Hello everyone, Charles Watts here, the Arsenal correspondent at Goal, joining you on Monday. I hope you all had a very good weekend and you're having a good start to the week, wherever you're watching this around the world. Of course, you'll be a very happy Arsenal fan right now. Why wouldn't you be? Arsenal winning again yesterday, going 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League with 10 games to go. Look, down, you can count the games left on both your hands now. That's how close we are getting to the end of the season. Nervous times. And Arsenal, 8 points clear after that very comfortable win. I wasn't there yesterday. It was my son's birthday, so I was off this weekend. Barely even seen the highlights. I saw the very brief highlights, and that's about it. So I can't really talk too much about the game in terms of what I felt of it, because I just didn't see it. I wasn't around. It's son's birthday. Dad duties called. But it sounded great. I was speaking to my sort of colleagues, other journalists who were at the game last night. I was speaking to them this morning about it, and they said Arsenal were very good. Palace weren't great, but Arsenal were very, very good. Some really good performances. Bukayo Saka back to his best. Ben White, apparently, best performance in an Arsenal shirt, a lot of people are saying, which was great. I mean, the goals were good. For the Martinelli's goal was fantastic. The touch, the finish, really, really good. And having sort of come on the back of what happened on Thursday night shows a lot about his mentality and his quality. I thought Bukayo Saka's goals, both of them really good finishes. Lovely link up again with Ben White for that first goal. That partnership down the right hand side, so important to Arsenal. And Granit Xhaka scoring again, which is good because his goals have dried up a little bit, and now suddenly he's got 2 in 2, so that bodes well for the final 10 games of the season if Xhaka's back into some scoring form, which is good to see, and just a comfortable win. I've got to admit, I was worried about yesterday's game ahead of it. Maybe that's the pessimist in me, I don't know, but I just thought after what happened on Thursday night, the disappointment of going out the way they did, the sort of physical issues that might potentially be sort of coming into this game on the back of having played 120 minutes. Lots of players were clearly cramping up and stuff on Thursday night. They had the injuries as well. No Tomiyasu, no Saliba. I was worried. Even though what went on with Palace ahead of game with Vieira leaving and them in a little bit of disarray, I just had a bad feeling about it. So I was delighted to be proved wrong, and Arsenal had a very, very comfortable day. Saved me the horrible nightmare of enduring a match, looking at Twitter updates and the sort of nauseating feeling that can bring. It was very nice to sort of look at my phone and see comfortably that Arsenal were winning on their way to 3 valuable points. Mikel very happy afterwards. I'm really pleased with the way we started the game. I'm really happy with the way they reacted after Thursday. We took the question mark away from it. We showed a lot of determination, a lot of purpose in our way of playing. And certainly from the brief highlights that I saw, Arsenal very, very dominant, played some really nice stuff. And it's just another test pass, I think. Whenever you see this team facing potential obstacles, having to battle back from something, you always wonder how they're going to react. And so far this season, they've reacted very, very well. And they did that again yesterday. Given the disappointment on Thursday night, given how much they put into that game, the injuries, everything like that, you wondered, how were they going to respond? Will they be able to pick themselves up? And they did. And they did it really, really well. And they flew out the blocks and got the game pretty much done and dusted by half time, which was very good to see. Now, Gabriel Jesus was speaking after the game. I thought it was really interesting comments. He spoke to some of the journalists down in the mix zone after the match. I think this says a lot about Gabriel Jesus. It says a lot about what he is going to bring and what Zinchenko is going to bring over these next 10 games, these final 10 games. He said, I think, in my opinion, this is the best part of the season. It's a period when you have deciding games, big games, away and at home. Now is the time we have to play the same. We don't change, we be together, and we will see. I think that mentality from Gabriel Jesus is going to be so, so important. He's been there, he's done it, he knows what it takes at this stage of the season to get over the line. Zinchenko's exactly the same, and I think those two, they're not, the way he's talking there's no nerves, there's no tension. He's looking forward to these final 10 games. I think that's how Arsenal have to approach it. If they start to get nervous, they start to think too far ahead, think about, the potential, what's on offer, the winning the trophy, all that sort of stuff, they could get nervous, they could go into their shell a little bit. But if you go into it just excited and looking forward to the games, that's the kind of mentality that you have to have, and that's the kind of mentality that you get from being in this situation and doing it before. Now, those two, Jesus and Zinchenko, have done that, and I just think they're going to be so, so important. And the way Jesus speaks there, I think is going to be, that's what he's going to be saying behind the scenes in the change room. It's definitely what Zinchenko is going to be saying behind the scenes in the change room, because they're two really influential figures. And they're going to be really important on the pitch, but I think those two, in these final couple of months, in these final 10 games, they're going to be equally as important behind the scenes in the change room on doing things that we don't get to see. Jesus continued as well. He said, "No one here is main." He was talking about why the team was doing really well. This is his observations. He said the team is doing really well because no one here is the main man. Everyone is together. When I got injured, we were sure Eddie would go there and help us, and he did. Trossard has come in and done it as well. Everyone is together. It's like this. To be champions of this big competition, we need not only 11 players, and that's exactly right. So Erik ten Hag was banging on last week and kind of dangled out that little sort of. He just threw that little grenade into the mix, didn't he? Talking about Arsenal's injuries, saying they always have to play the same team, and it was totally wrong for a start. But I think it's wound. I think it got under the skin. You can see by Arteta's reaction on Thursday night when he went through the injuries. I'm convinced. I mean, I don't know. He's not admitted it, but I'm convinced that was a direct, sort of response to Ten Hag's comments, and he did it again. Arteta yesterday in his press conference, he listed the players again, Arsenal had to deal with a lot this season of injuries. Yes, they've had sort of a core group that have been able to stay fit, but they've still had to deal with a lot. Gabriel Jesus was out for 4 months nearly, and they coped with it. Mohamed Elneny's been out for ages, who may not be a starter, but he's still a really important player who plays a lot of games. He's been out. He's out for the season. Zinchenko is out for ages. Partey was out. These players have had to do that, and every time someone's been out, someone stepped up, and I think that's really, really important. Just look at yesterday. Saliba's out. Rob Holding comes in. Everyone's worried about Rob Holding coming in. Look at the performance he put in. Apparently, again, like I said, I didn't see, but apparently he was very, very good. When players from the squad have been needed, they've come in and they've stepped up, and I think that's been so essential to Arsenal's success this season. I thought Rob Holding, again, yesterday was just another example of that. And we don't know what's happening with Saliba yet. We'll have to wait and see. Fingers crossed it's not bad, but we don't know, and Arsenal don't know. Mikel was talking about it yesterday. He said, we hope Willie is going to be better news, but again, we have to wait until tomorrow, which is today, to understand a better picture. We have lost players. We've lost Gabby for 4 months, Thomas for 1.5 months, Zinchenko for 1.5 months. We lost Elneny for 6 to 8 months. Now we've lost Eddie, and we've lost Tomiyasu and Saliba. Everybody has to give more. It's no secret. If we want to maintain the level, everyone has to step in, give more, and Rob Holding is a great example of what we needed today. We'll see if Holding's going to be needed more. I think if Saliba's out, I think Holding's the guy who's going to step in like he did yesterday. I don't think, it's just that natural left-sided, right-sided thing. And personally, I think Holding gets a lot of grief, a lot of unfair grief. Is he as good as Saliba? No. Is he very good backup for a Premier League squad? In my opinion, yes. And I don't think he really comes in and lets everyone down. A lot of people will have a go at him on social media, but I think back to the FA Cup game when he played against Man City. I thought he played really well, and yet people were digging him out on social media. I just didn't get it. I thought he handled Haaland really well. He got booked and he came off at half-time, but he roughed up Haaland. Not many defenders have done that, and he gave him very, very little to work with. I thought he played well, and yesterday, clearly, people who were there said he played well, and he's no Saliba, there's no doubt about it, but as a squad player, I think he's a very valuable and really, really influential figure behind the scenes. Everyone loves him at Arsenal. I took these down. This is what Bukayo Saka said after the game yesterday. He said, I gave Rob a big hug when he came into the change room because he deserves it. He was magnificent. When we need that, when he's coming in to stay at the level that we've been playing at, he was unbelievable today. So credit to him, and he's so important behind the scenes. I know a lot of people look at that and think, you know what, I don't care. He can be a nice guy behind the scenes, but if he's not good on the pitch, I don't care. And I can kind of understand that, but I do think he's good on the pitch. And he's very, very good off the pitch as well. So I think he's a very important player for Arsenal. And, he might have to be now a very important player between now and the end of the season. We wait on news on Saliba. I can't give you anything definitive on it, I'm afraid, because I just don't know. And with something like this, I'm not going to speculate or until I find out for certain. I can't say what the deal is with Saliba and how long he's going to be out with. I've seen the reports in France suggesting he's going to be out for several weeks, but I just don't know if that's true or not. So I can't confirm it. I'm afraid Tomiyasu, again, it's not looking good. We know that. There's not been a kind of official announcement yet. They're still going through the final sort of checks, but it looks bad. All the comments coming from Arsenal are suggesting it's bad, but they're waiting to get the final results through on all the tests that he's gone through. But I think you just have to look at the replay of the incident and you're like, yeah, he's going to be out for quite a long time. But we'll wait and see. Maybe they get lucky. Maybe the final scans come back good. But I mean, even... where is it? I looked at what Arteta said yesterday. He said, we don't know. Obviously, the doctor is still assessing him. We've had one assessment. They need to do another one, but it's not looking good, that's for sure. Looking at Tommy, he's not someone who exaggerates things. He was really concerned, and we are all concerned. I don't think it takes too much You don't have to be too much of a genius to read into those comments and suggest that the initial findings that Arsenal have had on Tomiyasu's injury are not looking good at all. So fingers crossed Ben White can stay fit, because that is going to be very important. And again, it's another kind of plus point on being out of the Europa League, is you don't have to worry about those midweek games. It's just week to week now for Arsenal between now and the end of the season, apart from that one midweek game at Man City. It's just weekend football, and hopefully that means, providing there's nothing real big sort of setbacks, that Ben White will be all right and Arsenal can cope without Tomiyasu. But we'll wait and see on that. I just wanted to talk here about, Mikel was talking about Martinelli, and I thought, again, I think Martinelli deserves a lot of credit. He was really down after the game on Thursday night. You could see that, but I think he's shown an awful lot of maturity, not just in yesterday's game with his goal, but I thought in the immediate aftermath of what happened on Thursday night. As soon as he missed a penalty, the first person he went over to, he didn't wallow, he didn't turn around, hands on his heads and all that. Straight away, he kind of brushed it off and went over to Ramsdale to try and G Ramsdale up to make a save. And I thought that said a lot about him, and I thought his response on the pitch yesterday clearly shows a lot about him. I was watching the Match of the Day highlights last night, and they highlighted a lot of the stuff that he did, the good work he done, the running off the ball, and he deserves so much credit for how he responded to the penalty miss, how he responded to being dropped a few weeks ago. He's come back in, he's got 6 goals in his last 6 Premier League games. His finish yesterday was brilliant. He's on 13 for the season now. Top goal scorer for Arsenal. He's not that far off. He wouldn't be that far off the Golden Boot if it wasn't just for Haaland being so far off in the distance of everyone, because he's such a freak of nature, so ridiculously good at what he does. But the way that Martinelli has stepped up this season, and the way in this really crucial stage of the season now, someone so young has stepped up and he's bounced back from losing his place in the team. He's bounced back from the penalty disappointment. I think he again sort of sums up the mentality of this young Arsenal squad and deserves an awful lot of credit for that. Mikel said they were a team straight away. He was talking about how the team responded to Martinelli. He said they were a team straight away. It's part of football. He takes the responsibility and the chance of taking that penalty. But when you see him running around the next day with that same sort of energy, honestly, I wasn't very concerned about him. And that's great to see. And it's, they're going to need Martinelli to be at his very best. And they certainly looking like he is yesterday, and Saka was back to his best. I'd take full credit, by the way, for Bukayo Saka doing what he did yesterday, because for the first time in about 4 weeks, I took my FPL captaincy off him. Done pretty much nothing for about 3 weeks, got me no points. So I took the captaincy off him yesterday, and he's back scoring 2 goals and getting assists. So I take full credit for that. Nothing to do with Saka, nothing to do with how he played. It's me and my fantasy Premier League curse that has done it. And I took the captaincy off him. How many points did he get? An awful lot. So I'm taking credit for Arsenal's win yesterday. Nothing to do with the performance or anything like that. That's it from me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. And do enjoy the start of your week. We've got nothing really to focus on club-wise now for the next couple of weeks. All a bit quiet, and then it's going to go crazy for 10 games. So enjoy this little bit of downtime. Sit back, enjoy the international football. Cross every single finger and toe you have that no one gets injured while they're away. And then we're back ahead of Leeds on Saturday week. So have a good week, everyone. I'll speak to you soon.